Hi. Would you like to see a quick visual example of a strategic positioning activity for a giant multinational brand? Really, who doesn't? Let's take a look. In just a few seconds, this guy is going to demonstrate a key strategic positioning aspect of Disney theme parks.
You! Get her a cinnamon bun on me, she's crying. Now. I hope you realize how lucky you are. You don't even have to wait in line to use this therapy. Apparently that's what you need to do, you just stand here and cry. Yeah, I don't like hearing children cry. There you go, this is for you to make you stop crying and feel better. See, I'm not above bribing small children with massive quantities of sugar and then sending them off with their parents. So yeah, you're probably gonna have to hold that because she's holding the bear. There you are. All right, now I don't want to hear you crying anymore. I want to see you running around in circles on a massive sugar rush. Got it?
Let's see that again.
You! Get her a cinnamon bun on me. She's crying. Now.
Did you catch it? What our arrogant but affable friend Gaston did is an example of a special type of behavior that springs from the strategic positioning that Disney uses at all its theme parks. When it comes to strategic positioning, I talk a lot about activities. Truly effective strategies must be supported by a fit of self-sustaining activities. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be talking about a foundational activity. And a foundational activity is a core set of behaviors that direct much of how a business conducts itself on a day-to-day basis. This type of activity becomes a decision-making rubric for the whole organization and its individual members. So, what is the foundational activity under Gaston's actions? Let's look at a few more examples of Disney Parks' foundational activity first. During the early days of the first Disney park, Disneyland, Walt Disney himself would get something to eat, like a hot dog, and walk in a different direction each day while eating it. Once he finished eating, he'd insist a trash can be placed there if there wasn't one already. He didn't want anyone searching for a trash can. Today, the average distance between trash cans in the parks is only 30 feet. People even love these trash cans. I mean, Disney made salt and pepper shakers and Christmas ornaments out of them. Trash cans. Disney uses a paint color they created called Go Away Green. Its purpose is to hide things in plain sight. This color has been specially formulated to help fences, construction barriers, and functional buildings fade into the background and out of the notice of guests. The level of music is never too loud or too soft. This is due to a complex algorithm connecting around 15,000 speakers at Disney World, for example. Plus, white noise created by waterfalls or other elements help hide the transition of soundtracks from one area to the other. So, what do all of these activities have in common? They're all part of the same foundational activity of friction reduction. Disney crafts much of their park experiences around reducing friction at that park experience. This foundational activity may even be more important than another one of their activities, wonder and delight. I'm defining friction as anything that impedes engagement or enjoyment of the park experience. This could be any friction: waiting in line, searching for a character, getting into a hotel room, paying for souvenirs, even dropping your ice cream cone. Let's dig into a few more examples of friction reduction in more depth. I really like this next example because it demonstrates a core aspect of strategic positioning. For decades, cast members dressed up as Disney characters just wandered around the parks. Meeting your favorite characters at a Disney park was either a delightful surprise due to running into them, or a disappointing frustration for not getting to see them. But the advent of the digital camera changed this. In the early 2000s, park visitors with digital cameras were finding characters and taking many more photos than those with film cameras in years past. This meant characters who could walk around freely before were now mobbed and attending to guest paparazzi for longer periods of time. This clogged up walkways and made character movement less manageable. Because of this, Disney parks now schedule characters for specific times and locations in the park, much like they do a stage show. Here's why it's a good example of a key aspect of strategy: the trade-off. All solid strategies involve trade-offs. In fact, if something doesn't have a trade-off, it's not really a strategy. Disney decided to trade off the wonder and delight of randomly running into a character for the predictability and easy management of scheduling them in a set location. This is because reducing friction is a foundational activity and part of their overall strategy. In the end, this trade-off was probably a simple decision, even if it wasn't easy. It reduced friction, and that trumps other activities, even wonder and delight. Cast members, whether in character or not, actually have a reasonable amount of flexibility to address guest friction on their own. They can choose to give out front-of-line passes, replace a lost balloon, dropped ice cream cone, or even a whole dress for a child if one is stained or ruined. And they can do this without having to get manager approval or complicated paperwork. If a cast member sees friction, they're empowered to autonomously fix it if they can. So, let's go back to our friend Gaston.
Hold on, this child crying. Yeah. You! Get her a cinnamon bun on me, she's crying. Now.
Notice the moment he hears the little girl crying, he stops what he's doing with the meet and greet and attends directly to her. That, "Get this kid a cinnamon bun on me," is a great example of this autonomy to address friction. The crying child is friction for the child, the parents and the family, and for everyone else around them. Our Gaston had a choice to make. He could either continue to make other guests happy with wonder and delight by keeping the activity of the meet and greet going, or he could trade that off and address a single crying little girl. You can see he doesn't hesitate to address the friction as soon as he notices it. That's because reducing friction is a foundational activity at Disney parks. So, what do the activities of one of the largest multinational corporations on Earth have to do with your business? I think plenty. The size or complexity of an organization doesn't really matter when considering the strategic fit of the activities. A foundational activity can be a highly effective way to provide focus and streamline decision-making within a set of sustaining activities. If you'd like help with finding your organization's own foundational activity or better understanding your own strategic positioning, I'd love to help you with that. You can contact me at my website, thestrategicweb.com. There, you can also read other explanations and articles about strategic positioning. And remember, if your strategy isn't different, you're not different.